You are tuned in to Kids
In the Pit.
Hey guys, it's Gabe from the Kids of the Pit podcast. Today I'm joined by Tom Shad. Thanks so much for joining me.
Awesome. Yeah, really happy to be here.
Yeah. So, what instrument do you play, and how long have you been playing it?
Well, it's a long time, Gabe. I've been playing the bass for how many years? 47 years.
Wow,
Yeah. But I
that's
play
cool.
bass, I play some guitar, I play some mandolin, some lap steel, clarinet. I sing.
Nice. Um, what kind of bass was your first bass?
My first bass that I owned, we rented some basses from Sam Ash. I rented a Univox bass and then a Gibson EB3. But the first bass I owned, I still have and I still gig with. It's an Ibanez Black Eagle.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's basically a jazz bass.
Really
How
cool.
about you? What's your bass?
My first bass was it's like a, it's like a lesser known brand. They're also pretty cheap, but I mean, it's fine. They're called sawtooth basses, but they're
Okay.
not the best, but they're cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
yeah, it was really cheap. I think on Amazon or something, it was like $200, and then there was like a half off coupon or something. So we got
Uh-huh.
it $50, and I mean I think it's pretty good. It's not like amazing, but Mom, I don't have my first bass. Remember one of my friends is borrowing it to learn bass? When is Zoe gonna give that back? I don't know. I don't know. Yes. Uh, how old were you when you got it? I
I
was
was 13.
nice. Yeah, I was. I think 12. Was I? Wait. So was it two? Was it?
Oh, it was
No.
two Christmases. You were
Yeah,
11.
two. I was 11. So it was Christmas. Yeah, Christmas 2022. So that I would have been 11. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And
Almost.
was there somebody you wanted to play like? Was there somebody that you saw that you said, "Oh, I want to play like him or her"?
Um. I mean, do you know the band Hot Water Music?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're good.
Um. I mean, Jason Black's a really, really good bassist. He does the. I mean, I'm not great. Like I'm better at using a pick, but I can kind of finger pick. I'm working,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, he does a lot of crazy stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
also Geddy Lee from Rush, he's really really cool.
Yeah, he's
So
good, I
yeah,
would say.
he's great. But
Yeah.
yeah, how about you? What are some bass players?
Well, let's see. I wanted to play bass in my band because I was a sax player at that time, and there wasn't enough sax in the Beatles and the Stones. That's what we were playing back in 77, 78. So punk rock was literally had just begun. Um, let's see, but my influences then was Paul McCartney, and it was Bootsy Collins and James Jamerson from the Motown stuff.
Nice.
But soon I really got into the Clash.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I was totally
I
a Clash kid in like eighth grade, seventh grade.
I don't know the Clash enough. I need to listen to them more, but I know a
Totally.
few songs, and they're good.
Hmm. I love them. And
Yep.
you know who was around at that time, but it took me longer to really get into them to learn their music was the Bad Brains, Daryl Jennifer.
I'm in a band with my dad called Ball Control. He plays drums and I play bass.
Awesome.
I think, yeah. Um, yeah. We do a regulator cover. You know that
Oh, I know the
bad
regulator,
brain,
sure. Hmm.
and I get to start with the.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's fun.
We'll send you a video.
Yeah, I'd like to finger pick that song, but the singer likes the sound of the pick more. I mean, it is more like sometimes I drop my pick, so I have to finger pick for a second
Hmm.
song, or when I have a break to pick up another pick. But yeah,
Well, you can do all of it, you know? It took me a lot of years to learn how to pick well. I would say now I can begin to pick well. I was a fingers guy only for many, many years, but I also slap, I do all of it because I love music.
yeah. I think the reason I mainly play pick is because I'm originally a guitar player and still am
Hmm.
a guitar player. Um, oh, also, you said your first bass was an Ibanez, right?
Yep.
My first guitar was an Ibanez too.
Hmm.
So
Cool.
I like Ibanez's. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, they feel pretty good in my hands. My hands are not the largest hands, so that helps.
Yeah, they're cool.
So I see, like, I've watched a couple of episodes of your podcast, and I see you wearing all these shirts. Have you seen all these bands?
I
Have you
mean,
seen Municipal Waste? And
yeah, I've seen these boys. I've
4 times?
mm, 3 times, right? Right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think 3 times. But I sing. You know the song Grave Dive?
hmm
They so they let me. Tony pulled me up and he let me sing it with them for that, and that was amazing.
that was pretty beautiful.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like, yeah, they're one of my favorite bands for sure.
So you're a hardcore kid then, right?
Yeah, mainly, but I also like punk. I like rock. I mean, I like metal. I like
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. I mean,
cursive.
oh yeah,
Ask
Cursive's
if you know
Cursive's
cursive.
emo. You know the band Cursive?
I don't know cursive.
They're really weird. Yeah, they're cool. Um, yeah, they're
Do you know these guys? Do you know Gorguts?
no, I don't.
You gotta check out Gorguts.
Okay, I will. Yeah, you should check out Cursive's new album. It's called Devour. It's really, really like it's crazy. Like, I mean, they have like a trumpet in it. They
It's
have
just good. I don't know how to
it's
explain
good.
it.
It yeah,
So good.
you can't explain it. It's really weird. They're a super weird band, but they're really cool.
Hmm.
I had the singer on the podcast once, and that was cool. Um, I also like but yeah, well, I also like rock and stuff. Like I like Weezer. Um,
Hmm.
Weezer's one of my favorite bands. But
Hmm.
yeah, I like pretty much anything with an electric guitar in it is like my genre, but just mainly like thrash metal and hardcore. Mainly those two.
Hmm.
Except
But
except country. I don't like. I mean, old country is fine, but new country, I don't like new country, like the pop country.
yeah, I'm not so into the pop country either, although I really do like Casey Musgraves. She's really good. And I actually played lap steel on my friend Patty Rothberg's latest single. So that's country, 100% country.
Yeah, but is it does it sound like is it like country pop or is it like straight up country?
It's more like straight up country, more like Patsy Cline or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of either, but I definitely like normal country a lot more than country pop.
Well, there was a lot of crossover in the mid '80s of they called them the cowpunk bands. There was a band called Tex and the Horseheads. They were pretty great, and the Gun Club, and a lot of LA bands. They were doing like the cowpunk thing.
Or
It was pretty cool.
are the Dead Milkmen country like
Uh, nah.
yeah, I pretty cool. Um,
Hmm.
I think you told me you played in the Blue Man Group.
I did. I played Chapman stick, bass, lap steel, and talking drum in the Blue Man Group for 23 years.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
for the New York show. Yep.
that's really cool. Yeah, I've seen like videos of them before. They're just crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. And it was a lot like playing a gig, where you're really interacting with the audience, you know. There's no thing about we're up on stage and the fans are down there. It was very much connected to the audience and we talked to them afterwards and there were a lot of cool people who came to the show. I actually got to meet David Bowie
Wow.
and Billy Gibbons and a bunch of people.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun.
What was I gonna say? It was how do you like? Did you just know the people that did it, or like how did you even get?
It's a really good story. So I had a friend at that time who now he's living in Texas, but he was having a birthday party, and I went to the birthday party, and I heard somebody say from the other room, "Oh, blah blah blah, we need a Chapman Stick sub." And I walked into the room and I said I played
Oh, wait.
Chapman Stick. This instrument. Tony Levin plays it in King Crimson, um, and I didn't really play it, but I owned it. So I walked in there with the guts to say that I played, and oddly enough, the guy who wrote all the parts lived in Hoboken, New Jersey, where I lived, and he was a fan of my old band. There's a band called Dump Truck from Boston, and
I think you told me about that.
yeah, I played in Dump Truck. Uh, I was on one record with them, and I toured the U.S. and Canada with them. That was really cool.
Yeah,
Actually, I think I can show you the bass from that band. This is my endorsement bass. If you check this out, look at that green.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I have a base that's also like mint green. It's also a
Mm.
soft. I have two of them.
It's lighter than that.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a little lighter than that. That
Uh-huh.
that seems like more like turquoise.
Yeah, it is sort of turquoise. I wanted surf green,
Yeah,
like
like
like my friend Steve Mitchner, who played in Volcano Suns and Big
that's
Dipper.
Yours is mint, so it's a little
yeah.
lighter.
Mine's like
Mint green.
it's a very bright green.
Well, it's all about how the music sounds, right? It doesn't matter if we have a pink instrument or with
Yeah.
stripes. Yeah, I mean, as long as you can play. People used to look at me because I would walk in to certain things with a bass with 5 strings or a bass without the tuners the headstock was in the back. Those Steinberger basses, and
I
they
know.
would look at it and be like, well, we don't want a bass like that. And I would say, well, let's just play. You know, see what you
Yeah.
think after I play. So,
So, what are some other bands you've played for besides Dump Truck?
well, I played for a lot of projects. Let me just say the current bands I'm in. I played for a band called the Gershwin Brothers. We just finished the second record, and those are my friends Dave Foster and Lane Steinberg. It's a really, really good band. The guy playing keys for that actually played with Ozzy Osbourne. This guy Charlie Roth,
Wow, that's
and yeah, yeah. And my own band, which I'm playing guitar and singing in, called the Graveyards. That's with Patty Rothberg. Um, and then and I also play a lot of tribute shows with we have like a collective of musicians called Murderers Row, and we just played in New York City, playing the music of 1969. So that includes everything from the Stooges to Pentangle and all these groups. So it's a lot of rehearsal, a lot of homework for that. Oh, and then my friend Erica Smith, we're going to record a record in January in Connecticut at the Carriage House. Um, yeah, I mean, I pretty much play for whoever asks me to play. But let's see. I mean, Blue Man Group is like the most known band I've played for, but I did a track with this band from Portland, Oregon called Mercury Tree, and they're really cool. They're a prog microtonal band, so they play in weird tunings.
wow.
Oh, you know what? The one guy you would know I did tracks with is Jerry A from Poison Idea. Do you know Poison Idea?
Dang.
A little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, so Jerry's a friend, and I just wrote to him, and I sent him some tracks, and he really loved them. So I literally played bass, guitar, and I programmed the drums on that project. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love doing stuff remote.
Yeah. Wow. You're in a lot of bands.
Yep, I love it. That's why I did it. I love music. Remember announcing to my parents when I was 10 that I was going to be a professional musician. So I knew really, really young.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I plan on being one too. I don't. I mean, I'm in like a lot of side projects with some of my friends, but they've never really done anything. I'm in two actual bands, which are Thought Control, which I mentioned earlier with my dad, and
Mhm.
World of Chaos, which I sing and play guitar, and that's other like kids my age.
Mhm.
So um and wait, is it announced yet?
No, but doesn't matter.
Okay. One of my dad's other bands, they're doing like a reunion show and they need a guitarist, so I'm playing
Mhm.
guitar for their show.
That's awesome. I mean, like I just saw like some of the people that you interviewed. Oh, here's like a really silly story. So I saw that you interviewed Milo from the Descendants.
Yep.
Oh wait, let me just quickly say I forgot one other band I have. It's called My Three Dads, and that's a pun or whatever, a joke. There used to be a band, a hardcore band in New Jersey called My Three Sons, and three of the guys in the band were dads, so we called them My Three Dads. But it's all early Black Flag. And
Okay.
I actually got in touch with Dez at one point, and I said, "Would you like to play in our band?" And so he was actually up for it, but that never happened. But I was so excited. But anyway, back to Milo. Um, like it's so obvious that you really love the music and you're putting in the time, and like that's the whole thing, right? You know. And so here's like the really silly story. And I'll embarrass myself on your podcast. So I went to go see the Descendants. They were playing at Maxwell's in Hoboken, New Jersey. That's a tiny club, maybe like 150 people fit in that room, sold out probably. And basically, they were going to go on, but a friend of a friend was like in trouble. So I was just helping her, and I literally missed their whole set. I was standing outside the room while the Descendants played. Now I cannot believe that I missed them, you know?
Yeah.
Because Carl Alvarez, oh my God, right? And Bill. And I saw Bill with Black Flag. That was insane. I saw the Slip It Into Her in 86, I guess it was. Bill and Kira were such a great rhythm section.
Yeah. Have you ever seen The Descendants live?
I missed my one chance.
Oh wow.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
they tour pretty often, so you
yeah,
catch them at some point.
I would love to see him.
They played Sayreville, but it's at like a what 1,000 cap venue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm a little bit cheap with this kind of stuff. Like I don't love paying like $75 to see bands or $300. You know, like I literally grew up. I guess this is worth saying on this podcast. A couple of towns away from the Misfits. So where I would go and get my guitars repaired and all that, you know, they would say, you know, Jerry and Doyle were in here. I'm like, okay, you know, because I didn't really know the Misfits and I wasn't particularly a fan back then. But it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's really cool. On that same tour they played Sayreville recently.
Hmm.
They also played Descendants. They also played Reading, PA. Um,
Hmm.
and Milo he let me sing Suburban Home on stage with them.
That's awesome.
I mean, I can't sing. I can't like clean sing, but I can scream like hardcore. Like that's how
Hmm.
I can't clean sing. But after the song was done, he said that's the death metal version. I mean, it's not like death metal, but it's screaming. So
You know, it can work either way, right? Like I love Meshuggah. Do you know Meshuggah, the metal band? I've seen them like three times. They're one of the greatest live bands.
oh, did you hear me playing Bleed on my legs?
No,
Oh,
Do
I
it
was
here.
wait. Tell me if you can hear this. Wait, it's hard to do.
I can't hear it.
I don't think so.
I hear nothing.
Oh dang.
Here.
Maybe on a box.
Okay.
Wait. It's hard because it's moving up and down. Wait.
Sorry.
I gotta do it on my legs.
I can only see the visual because I think that you're I can see the pattern, but I
Yeah.
can't hear it because I think you're the thing it just cuts things off.
Yeah, I think Zoom does that.
Have you seen them live? They're amazing.
No, I haven't. I don't know.
Oh,
I can't play that song on drums. Are you crazy?
You like to try.
Well, I can do the kick pattern, but I can't do it like with the snare and everything.
You know what? If you keep practicing it slow, right? That's the thing. Most is true for me, and it's true for all my students and everything. Anything worth doing is worth playing slow because fast is just slow sped up.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to practice at 40 beats a minute or less than that, which I've had to do, because believe it, because we know this, the drummers hear the difference. You know what I mean? Like you can play Bad Brains and that stuff, but the drummers will hear the difference in between people who are like, where you really feel what they're playing, and that's the whole thing. You want to be that person, you know. That's who they want, and also somebody who shows up early and who is not a jerk to deal with, right? Because there's most of the time that we spend at gigs, right, is just waiting, just waiting around.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know any Meshuggah songs other than Bleed. Well, I know the song because of the drummer of World of Chaos.
Hmm.
He's 14, turning 15 in 2 days. Um, he like showed me the pattern. I was like, "What is that?" And he was like, "Bleed by Meshuggah," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is hard."
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and you can catch also like the guitar players will do a tutorial of their stuff. They're literally playing with a tiny metronome going beep beep, and and they're doing all this metric modulation stuff. It's great,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know. So ask the questions you want to ask because one thing I was just excited that somebody like your age, and I don't mean this in an ageist way, like was like that excited and got his stuff together and just playing music. Like that's great. And I think like a lot of kids like whatever their parents aren't into them playing music or the kids doubt themselves, and so you're just doing it, and that's great. You know.
yeah,
I just finished Vinny Stigma's book, from Agnostic Fronts.
yeah. Nice. Yeah, well, not read. For some reason, for some reason, like whenever I read books, I can't remember any of the information.
Okay.
Remember anything from any books I've ever read. So we
Hmm.
used the audiobook version.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Exactly.
we're at the
Or read the recipe
we're
part.
at the recipes.
You know how we did the
Oh
recipe?
yeah, oh that's great, right? But the thing is, like, I mean, I don't know Vinny. My friends know Vinny very well. I mean, I used to play in a hardcore band also. I mean, but that was already after I could, that was not what I started on, but it was a band called Children in Adult Jail. So I'll send you some links. And that was some weird stuff. It was like a psychedelic hardcore band. If you know the band Adrenaline OD from New Jersey was on the same label that they were. And it might be way before your time, but anyway, yeah. But Vinny, the thing he talks about is helping other people, and like that's kind of like that's my thing too. I want to show people whatever I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's some great musicians now. I mean, I know Turnstile, right? Like Turnstile can play their asses off.
For some reason, I'm not. I don't know. I didn't like catch on to Turnstile that much. They just.
Uh-huh.
And I think there's like one song I've listened to them like a fair amount, but like
Hmm.
I'm just not a huge fan of them.
Okay,
I was
that's
looking,
cool.
I'm just tearing up. For some reason, I randomly just tear up randomly.
That's okay.
Yeah,
You
I'm.
know, but that's the thing also, like what your taste is going to be hopefully very different than mine or your parents or whatever, right? You're going to come up with your own stuff.
Yeah, like
Who knows? Like, I mean, whatever. Like maybe you'll hear like Brazilian jazz and you'll dig that, and that'll be a part of your music too.
maybe.
You never know, right? Like one of the guys I play with is Mighty Sparrow. This is a guy from Trinidad. His stuff is literally it's uh called calypso music. This is before ska and all this stuff. And this guy is like a great, great musician. And when my friend asked me, "Would you like to play with Mighty Sparrow?" I was like, "Yes." You know. And this is a guy literally has been putting out like music since 1958. He
What?
knows his stuff. And his music is deep. And that's the thing. Is it like the music? That's more like the music I grew up with my parents playing than than the rock music I play now. But, you know, but whatever. If it's good, it's good, you know? Nobody
Yeah.
else has to like what I like. You know, my wife does not like the death metal that I like, but my daughter at least used to like the Bad Brains. I used to play the Bad Brains. She has a bass. She's a bass player too.
Nice. Um, yeah. So back about Vinny Stigma. When I was we're friends with like Sick of It All guys. You know Sick of It
Sure.
All. Yeah.
Yep.
They were on a tour with Agnostic Front, and they played a show that we went to, and Vinny, he brought me over to like all his guitars and stuff, and he let me like hold his guitar, and my mom took a picture.
No, he took the picture and he texted it
Oh,
to
he
me.
took the picture?
Mm-hmm. And he
I
sent it
can't
to me.
remember. It was like 3 years ago.
I wasn't even with him. I wasn't with you guys.
Oh yeah.
He just came and took him. I'm like, okay, you can have my kid. You were 10.
Yeah, I was 10 then. So I started
It was your first hardcore show.
yeah, first hardcore show.
Wow.
I've been
How
to-
was that? That
It
must have been incredible to see Sick of It All live. Oh boy.
Yeah. I've been to
20.
no, I mean, I've been to like shows before that, just not like hardcore shows. Like I've been to punk shows and stuff,
Uh-huh.
not hardcore shows.
I bet you've seen Sick of It All 20 times.
20?
Wow.
At
Oh.
least 10.
Really? Wait. Wait, okay, so wait, there were the two then. Then it was the
4.
then Furnace Fest.
Did those 4.
What for?
The tour of Life of Agony.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Japan. Talk to him, not me.
Wait, I'm trying to think. Okay, so we went to Japan and we saw Sick of It All. So
Mm.
we also the tickets were really okay, so whenever we go on trips, we usually like want to see a band too. Just cuz like
Mhm.
I mean it's killing two birds with one stone.
It's fun. Yeah.
We thought Sick of It All was going on tour and we're like, we're not gonna go, but let's see how much tickets are. And were they like 700 round trip each person?
Yeah.
It was like 800 each person per like round trip
Hmm.
but that was from Los Angeles, so we had to fly in from an airport, but we just flew in on like Spirit Airlines, and
Hmm.
we had like enough points that it was free to fly to LA.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
So where did you see Sick of It All in Japan? Where did they
um
play?
they uh they did 4 shows, I think. But we stayed in, so went for 4 days, but they did two in like the first and last one were in Tokyo because I assume they were flying in and out of Tokyo.
Hmm.
So they did like Tokyo, 2 other cities, then Tokyo again, and we just stayed in Tokyo because it was a lot cheaper than like going to the other places. So we just
Hmm.
had 2 off days to go around Japan. Yeah, we saw two two of them in Japan in Tokyo.
In Tokyo at Budokan, or
Ooh,
maybe you
yeah.
don't remember.
Oh no, it was one of them was called like
Unit.
Unit.
Okay.
The other was called Anti-Knock.
Oh wow. Okay.
One of them
Shibuya and what's the other one? Shinjuku.
Shinjuku, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a part of Tokyo. Right. Okay, got it. Got
Um,
it.
yeah, it was really cool.
That is, yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, and maybe it's an older way to look at it, but like I look at when you make a division in between hardcore and punk bands, like I was literally around when hardcore started. So to me, it's just like all punk. Like to say 77 punk versus whatever, it's like whatever. So you might like this. This is kind of a cool story. So one of the guys I went to high school with was Mike D from the Beastie Boys. And,
Wow.
and those guys were hardcore kids. And they had the Beastie Boys were initially a hardcore band. And the guy, I remember hearing about Adam Yauch, the bass player, for the Beastie Boys, and like his idol was Daryl Jennifer because they would go see the Bad Brains all the time back then,
Yeah.
you know. But I mean, yeah, but people went to see everything, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it wasn't just there weren't so many lines, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, But I mean, how many times have I seen Think of It All? Was it? So wait, let me count. So one, two, three. That's Furnace Fest. Then two in Japan. Then the Life of Agony tour 4 times, right? No, wait, there were 2 legs of the Life of Agony tour.
Yeah. You figure it out later. It's gonna take too long.
I think it was like 11.
Okay. Go.
Because wait, on the second one, did we see 3 shows?
I have no idea.
We saw Fort Wayne, Atlantic City, which I played. And yeah, my first show that I played was opening for Sick of It All.
Really?
Yeah. So wait, my first hardcore show and the first hardcore show I played were Sick of It All.
Incredible.
You were
But
11 when you opened for them.
yeah. Do you think I was the first 11-year-old to open for Sick of It All?
Probably.
Probably.
You played in
Although,
volleyball.
right. Well, you'd be sort of being good company, right? Because also Freddie, right, in Madball, he was really young when he started.
Yeah.
Yep. He was like 12, 11
I'm
or
pretty
12.
sure that he told me the first Madball album was recorded when he was 12.
12. Okay. Because I've
So
seen some pictures. Yeah. He was pretty young. And then
Oh.
Harley Flanagan was like, I think, 10 in the Stimulators.
yeah. But I think Freddie like he what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, he like there's like video like I mean there's like videos and stuff of him like singing with Agnostic Front when he was like 8. So
Yep.
yeah, it's cool how many like younger people like grew up in the hardcore scene and now are like still doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. People are still around for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. And people don't forget other people. That's the other thing. Like that's I mean, I don't know where you are exactly, but like in New York City, it's, everybody's sort of still close together, right? And so when people, sometimes like I would play gigs and I saw this guy playing some songs. I was like, oh, these are really good. And it turns out he was one of the original CBGB bands called the
Oh wow.
Miamis. Yeah. So that's always just like, whoa. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean,
people are, they're not going to go away because they love music. So that's that.
yeah. We live in Delaware, but
Yeah.
we usually just go to like Baltimore or New York
Sure.
or Philly for shows
Yep.
because I mean New York is two at most like 3.5 hours, but
Yeah.
usually like 2.5. Then Baltimore is an hour and a half, and then Philly's 1 hour. So there aren't
I I loved playing Baltimore. There used to be a club called the 8x10, and that was a great club to play.
nice.
And DC was also fun to play. I played the 930 Club a bunch of times.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
They expanded the 930 club like a lot, right?
Or they moved it, right? I think that's what happened.
Maybe because I think it's now like in a 1,000 cap venue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a different kind of place. They were so friendly. Like that's the cool thing. The minute you get out of New York, although I mean there are some venues in New York that are friendly, but I have to say in general, the minute you get to other places, people are so nice. You know what I mean? They're,
Yeah,
Philadelphia was really fun to play too. You know, I'm
Mhm.
glad I was not at too many hardcore shows in Philadelphia though. Those guys were kind of rough from what I heard.
yeah. Um, I've I want to play like Baltimore and DC.
Yeah.
I mean I've played both of those places with Thought Control, but not with World of Chaos yet. World of Chaos has only played Pennsylvania, Delaware, and
Uh-huh.
so far.
Hmm.
We're going to Massachusetts in January though, so I'm excited for that.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that the answer is always you just do the best you can. You go there tight, and then then you figure out where you want to play. It takes a while, right, to establish yourself and to have people
Yeah,
want to come there. But I was pretty lucky when I was touring with Dump Truck as an example. They had already toured a bunch, so when we went, like we were headlining a lot of the tour, and people we were opening for pretty large acts, so that was helpful, to play like Chicago in a sold out show. That was nice, you know what I mean, as opposed to playing for 5 people, which I've also done.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I mean by like we've kind of played Baltimore and DC with
Hmm.
we've we played like a little like house show. It was kind of in the ghetto of Baltimore,
Yeah.
but it
Yep.
was cool. Um, and then we haven't played in like actual DC, but we've
Hmm.
played in McLean, Virginia, which is like a suburb, but it's in Virginia.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
A friend, yeah, a friend of mine. Speaking of, I don't know how into the DC hardcore scene you are, and I think he had a band before this, but my friend's friend, and I didn't really know who he was when I was introduced, was this guy Danny Ingram. He was a drummer for the band Dot Dash, I think, and there's a bunch of other bands. Like these were the people who knew like Minor Threat and all these other bands, and so it was always just sort of funny, like just messaging with these people, and then we going like, oh wow, okay, so he knew this person, and my friend, my best friend growing up, went to camp with Guy Picciotto's sister. So I remember I knew that name, and when I saw Fugazi, I don't know, like, are you into any of that music from like like Fugazi or
like
Rites
Minor
of
Threat.
You like Minor Threat? How about Rites of Spring?
I don't know if it's.
You
I
got
don't
to
know.
check them out, and you got to check out Fugazi. Fugazi were one of the greatest live bands I've ever seen. They were so good,
Yeah,
tight.
nice.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Whenever I keep yawning for some reason, but it's not because I'm bored. Like I don't know. I just yawn randomly for some
it's
reason.
okay. It's
So
okay. Yeah, yeah. I don't want to. I don't. I want to be answering the questions you want to ask me, and and you can you can tell me when we're done. That's also cool.
I'm definitely having fun. I just yawn for some reason.
It's okay. You'll edit it out.
And I am tired, but I'm not like bored.
Stayed
So
up till 2 something.
Oh
yeah.
my God. Do you, see, I think once I had a kid, actually before I had a kid, I had to start getting up really early. Yeah, because I used to sleep. I used to be up until 3 or 4 in the morning. So I thought that's what every musician did. But as a dad, you don't get to do that,
Yeah, I
You
I mean
practicing for life on the road.
I was I mean
right?
I was just playing video games until 2 a.m. with my well no, Jaden wasn't playing the whole time, but yeah, I was just playing video games until like 2 a.m.
I get it.
I
I
my
get.
my two things are just like video games and music.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're both very fun. I love them both.
Hmm. Are you? Can you read music at all? Like, do you read notation at
I can
all?
read tabs. I can't read sheet music, but
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, I at one point I started out on piano,
Hmm.
but I can kind of noodle around, but I can't do like different things on two hands. I can't do that. But
Hmm.
I had this like app. I think it was called Simply Piano or something, and it
Hmm.
taught me for a little bit. But and I learned how to read like sheet music a little bit. Like I know the one at the bottom is a C
Hmm.
or
Little C, yeah.
yeah, and then like of the sheet music, and then it goes up for each note.
Yep.
I don't remember it.
Hmm. I've just found like when you mentioned Rush as an example, so I use Ultimate Guitar sometimes if I have to learn something,
Yeah.
like so sometimes like I was a notation guy before I was a tab guy, so sometimes tab is very confusing to me to look at it because the rhythms are not as obvious to me sometimes, but I find that being able to cross-reference things with the notation is very helpful for me to learn lines and all that stuff.
I also use Ultimate Guitar for like, I mean, sometimes I can usually figure out a song by ear,
Yep.
but sometimes I need to like read tabs. So if I need to read tabs, I'll go on Ultimate Guitar and I'll like learn the song with tabs.
Right. Well, it's also interesting, like to find out where a bass player or guitar player played that on the neck. Like, for instance, my friend Keith, who was bass player in AOD, he also plays really good guitar. He was saying like, oh, learn the solo from Paranoid. And so I'm looking and like where Tony Iommi plays, it's just like, oh wow, like I because sometimes like the same note can be in different parts of the neck, right? And so it was interesting learning like where he's placing everything, or the Ace Frehley tunes a half a step down. I did not know that, like all that stuff. It's a good perspective, you know, just to be able to learn that stuff for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I was definitely, but when I was like your age, I was not. I think there were certain things that I learned, but it was mostly by ear, and I was not interested in learning things note for note. My best friend was one of those guys. He could literally play everything note for note, and I just didn't have the attention. I wanted to play original music, you know.
Yeah.
I was into writing it, and I was writing from when I was 13. So
Nice.
yeah,
I think you mentioned like students. Do you teach music?
I do. I do. I've taught bass. I've taught generally beginning guitar to people. I've taught theory, a little bit of mixing and stuff like that, because I find that like a lot of people, they don't understand that they have music software. If they have an Apple computer, they have music software on their computer already. And I can teach them GarageBand,
Mhm.
basic stuff. And if they don't have that, then they can use Reaper on a PC. Yeah. Yeah, I love to be able to explain things. My friend Patty, I mean, she has a really, really great ear, but we've been writing songs together now for about 4 years, and like she'll be like, "Oh, is that the 13th?" I'm like, "Yeah, that is." So it's nice to just have a common language,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, but don't let anybody tell you it takes the soul away from you just because you can identify a chord in an inversion or whatever, right? Because there are certain guitar players, for instance, or bass players. Carl Alvarez, he's very, very complex with what he plays.
He
From
he can
Descendants, yeah.
finger picks, right?
I think he does both, if I'm not mistaken.
Because I've
But
seen finger pick.
yeah,
I don't know
he's
though.
a he's a monster. I mean, he's a monster player. You
He's
know,
amazing.
and yeah, so some of the stuff I'm doing now is even some like just trying to learn his lines note for note, just as an exercise.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've had students, and yeah, I mean, I take them as far as they want to go. One student of mine, it's this woman, I had her for 2 years, and like towards the end of it, all of a sudden, I didn't know she really loved Metallica. So, so all of a sudden, we're like, she's I began to teach her Master of Puppets. It was hilarious because it was just like, oh, if I had known that that's what would motivate her more, then I would have taught. But she was all into like Taylor Swift and Soccer Mommy and all that other stuff.
Hmm.
But whatever, if it's good, it's good. So yeah, that's the teaching. And people ask me also like, oh, do you make your daughter practice? I'm like, no. You know, if she's interested in doing it, she's going to practice.
Yep.
Yeah,
Keep going.
it's all right. I think you probably just because you woke up later.
Probably.
Hmm.
I mean, I
Yep.
woke up like what, an hour ago, if that.
Probably.
Yeah.
We got a
Well, I've
couple.
been I've been up from before 7.
Okay.
So anyway,
Yeah, we got like a couple more questions to go.
yeah, sure. What do you got?
So, where's your favorite place in the world you've ever played a show?
That's a great question. So I heard you ask somebody else something, and their answer, I think it was the guy from Terror or one of those bands. I'm just like, well, I've never played there. Um, hmm. You know, maybe I would say there are a lot of venues in the US that are like amazing. I know that playing Colorado Springs was like really awesome. That was like a theater, and I really loved playing there. Um, hmm. 930 Club, the original 930 was awesome.
Yeah.
Bottom Line in New York was awesome. Uh, I think it's more about like when the crowd is really into it, then that's what makes the venue. You know what I mean? Like I've never played Japan. Like I visited Italy, and I visited France, and I visited Turkey, but I've jammed with people in Turkey, but no, I'd never played a gig there. So So I think it's going to be pretty much U.S. venues. So there's a lot of great ones, Revival was a club in Philadelphia that was awesome. Chestnut Cabaret was cool, you know.
Yeah. Well, if you could tell your 12-year-old, no,
You're 13 now.
13 years. I
But
used to
yeah,
say 12-year-old self. If
uh,
you could tell your 13-year-old self anything at all, what would you tell him?
I would say be willing to make mistakes in front of other people. That's a really hard one. And be willing to have the guts to take criticism not personally. So when people say to you, they would say to me, okay, specifically, they'd say, play with the bass drum. And I would say, no, right? And it took me a lot of years to be to where I got a really wonderful compliment from a great guitar player named Rich Ferret. He said, what do you play? Is always perfect. And I said, well, I'm just playing with the bass drum, right? So I think I had a lot of arrogance. So like a lot of it is, like I said before, is be willing to practice what I don't know slowly and to not expect to see results immediately and then be willing to play with people better than me. You know what I mean? Where you get your ass kicked a little bit. Like it's okay. Like you should not be the best musician on stage.
Yeah. I burped while I yawned. I yawned and I went
My daughter would admire that, I think.
20. But yeah, thanks for the advice.
Of course, man. I think that, but that's what's mostly, you know, that perfectionism is what stops people.
Yeah.
To be willing to just, I mean, that does not mean release every single demo thing that I do the second I finish it, but I think that it's also being willing to like, and then I think the other thing is, which a lot of people, me at least, had this ego thing before, which is like, it's okay to take one lesson with somebody. Do you know what I mean? Like if you got a chance to take one lesson with Robert Trujillo or, Joe Lally from Fugazi or me or whoever, right? Like it's okay to just do one lesson and maybe that person is going to just open your mind to something you hadn't even thought about,
Yeah.
you know?
I c- um I met Rob's son with because he's in
Yeah.
he's right.
Yep.
Yeah. That was really cool. So before they played, I told him that I'm in a thrash band too. I was like, if you ever want to check us out, we're called World of Chaos, knowing he probably wouldn't. But after were done playing, he I he came back up to me, um and he said, "Yo, I'm gonna check your band out." I did not bring it up. He brought it
So,
up.
we don't know if
So
he actually did, but
he
maybe.
might have if he remembered, hopefully. But he was like 18 or 19 or something like that.
He's young, yeah.
He's really young.
You never know. See, but that's the thing, like, because you interview, I mean, I think Milo's like this and Ian Mackay is like this. Like, there are a lot of guys who are actually, as long as they have the time, they will listen. You know what I mean? Like Mike, do you know who Mike Watt is from the Minutemen?
No, I don't
Maybe
think.
not. Okay, well, I'm gonna give you some assignments of some old ass music to listen to. The Minutemen were a great band in the early '80s, three piece. And Mike Watt has interviewed lots of my friends, and he just he loves music. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole thing, and he's excited about everything. So so that's the thing. There's those opportunities. Yeah, absolutely. And then and if somebody doesn't check it out, like that's also the other thing. Just keep going. You know,
Yeah,
it's maybe not a straight line. You know. I can't wait to see what you're doing in 5 years from now, you know?
yeah. My also I just want to say Milo heard it's really cool. Milo heard like one of World of Chaos, my band's songs, and he
Mhm.
said it's a great song. Like he listened to it, which
Vinny Stigma said it was good too.
yeah, Stigma said it was good, so that's
And
pretty
he wore
cool.
your shirt.
He wore our shirt on stage with the Gnostic front.
See, that's the thing that's beautiful because I can tell you, like, there were some musicians when I was coming up who were really cool to me. But you know, the fact that this positivity and some of these guys are straight edge, you don't need to be straight edge to be doing this stuff. But the fact that these guys are interested in nurturing like the next generation or two generations below us, like that's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? Like I think it's great.
Yeah. I'm
You know?
uh I'm straight edge for life.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
Oh,
You know, I mean, listen, I'll just leave you with one thing. Like I was just old enough to have made it to Max's Kansas City twice. Do you know what that is? That
I
was where Patti Smith played. That's where, like, that was like one of the beginning places, like CBGB's and Max's and the Mug Club. I went to all three of those things. I literally got in underage, you know, and I wasn't drinking alcohol there. I was there 100% for the music. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Drugs have nothing, alcohol have nothing to do with it. You know,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably just gonna do my outro now. So,
Okay.
thanks Tom for joining me today, and thanks to all you for watching or listening. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Spotify and other streaming platforms. Until next week, bye.
Awesome job, Gabe.